Abhramam Bhangarahitam Ajram Vimalam Sada Anandatithamatulam Vajetapatrayapaham Mithya Siddhanta Dudhvanta Vidvamshana Chakshnaha Jaitithakya Taranir Bhasatam no Hudambare Artikalpita Kalpoyam Pratyarthi Gajakesari Vyasatitha Gurudbhuyat Asmadishtata Siddhe Tapo Vidya Virakyadi Sadgunoga Karanam Vajraja Gurun Vande Hekripadashiyan पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय सचिधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवये वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरवे नमोऽत्यन्तदयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाप्तिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. My Sashtanga Danda Pranamas Sri Sri Vidyasheshatirtha Swamiji for making this Jnana Satra possible. In the last Geetha session, we were looking at Arjuna's words and how Krishna responded and all that. Now, the basic question that can come to our mind is this. Arjuna refrained from fighting the Mahabharata war. So Lord Sri Krishna gave the instruction of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna so that he could participate and fight in the war. So the main purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to make Arjuna fight in the war. It may have given on the way information about karma and so many other things. It might have been there, but the ultimate goal was to make Arjuna fight the war. So how is it relevant to us? We are not in any war situation or anything like that. What is there for us, or how Bhagavad Gita is applicable? Is it applicable to us in a meaningful way? So the question can come. While it is, it apparently seems that the purpose of Bhagavad Gita was to make Arjuna fight. But if we see a little bit deeper, that's not the main goal. That's not the main purpose. Because the instruction is for anyone. The instructions that are there in Bhagavad Gita are applicable to all people in all walks of life. So whoever attempts to swerve from the path of duty, the Bhagavad Gita helps them to come back to the path of duty or kartavya, marga, dharma marga. So what is the duty for anyone, and how should we look at the circumstances, how to handle any situation? Bhagavad Gita helps that. This is what is taught in Bhagavad Gita. If the purpose were only to make Arjuna fight, then Sri Krishna could have just said, oh, Arjuna, just do not ask any questions. I am telling you that it is right for you to fight and participate in the war. So just do it without any questions. If Krishna told that, Arjuna would certainly oblige because he said, whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it. So, but Sri Krishna didn't do that. He wanted to give many good lessons to the world as well, and the avantara prayojana, or intermittent benefit, or consequential benefit, is that Arjuna willingly participated in the war. So secondly, it was not enough that Arjuna fights the war. It was necessary that Arjuna fights the war with right attitude, with right bent of mind. So how our bhavana should be there, that is also important. So in other words, it is not just the physical karma, but even the mental aspects associated with that karma. So these mental aspects are applicable for all. So they are applicable to all karmas. That's why it is relevant to all of us. So there are many aspects how our attitude should be in life, how we should apply our dharma chintane, dharma marga. So this is what is taught in Bhagavad Gita. The second question that comes to our mind is, okay, Arjuna gives so many arguments from his side. What is there for us to learn from Arjuna's words? Is there something that we can learn? Okay, Krishna's instructions are useful for us, that's fine. So, but what about Arjuna's words? Are they really are they helpful to us? Will they help us in any way? So we see so many times in our lives that a person chooses a wrong path, and in many cases, the person justifies that the path chosen by that person is the right path. In many cases, the predisposed notions, what we call purvagraha, that plays the main role, and people even draw their false strength in the name of sampradaya. This calls for a dispassionate analysis. An impartial nishpakshapata buddhi should be there of the situation, and proper guidance need to be given. That means what kind of mistakes people can make, what kind of wrong thinking people can have. This is also a lesson. So Arjuna's words help us to learn that lesson. So this can happen, between parents and children, grandparents and grandchildren, or wife and husband, between friends, or between some other relationships. It can happen any way, walk of life. In our situations, somebody can have a wrong thinking, and there may be a necessity for another person who is more knowledgeable to guide that person and put that person in the right path. So, what wrong thinking can be there, and what right thinking should go and correct the situation? This is what we should learn from Bhagavad Gita and Arjuna's words. Everything teaches us. So, in many cases, the person who is about to take a wrong decision or already took a wrong decision may do any of the following. These are the various possibilities. So, the person may say, I like to do whatever I want, and I know what I want and what is good for me. Do not, I don't need any of your advice. Don't interfere with my things. So I know what I can do. So people can come up with this attitude. Or people can come up with the attitude, I like to do whatever I want, and I know what I want and what is good for me, but I still like to listen to your advice. I may follow it or I may not follow it, but tell me what you think. But I may just do whatever I want ultimately, but I just still listen. Like, now I want you to give me some suggestions or advice. So this is another attitude. Or the person may say, I like to do whatever I want and I know what I want and all that. Whatever is good for me, I know, but I still like to listen to your advice. I will still surely follow it. So as I value your experience, wisdom, and knowledge and ability to guide. So I'm willing to take your advice, follow it. No, tell me whatever it is. Or this is another possibility is, I think so and so is good for me, but I'm not very sure. I'm confused. So I totally surrender to you, like what Arjuna has done. So I surrender to you and listen up to you and follow your instructions. So please guide me. I will do whatever, because I trust you. I do whatever you suggest. So, but guide me. So people may come up. So um, this is one of the possibilities. And we face these various situations where any of this can happen. If we are in a situation like in Arjuna Krishna case, where our people who are dependent on us, like maybe children or maybe subordinates to us, who come to our advice, come to our suggestion to take our advice, they come and seek our advice, then we can guide them, tell them. It's a nice and easy situation. But in most of the cases, that doesn't happen. The person will say, I don't want to listen. So how do we handle that situation, that kind of situation? That the only way we can handle that is when it's too late. We have to build the trust. That means the relationship has to be in such a way that the person always looks up on you, looks up to you. So that kind of relationship has to be built, and it has to be maintained right from the beginning. Of course, still things can go wrong and you may not be able to do anything. That's a different situation, but at least we should make an effort to maintain such a relationship that the people who are dependent on us will come to us, get our advice, and follow our guidelines. That kind of a situation we have developed. So the lesson that we can learn from Arjuna's words, what can we do? So the general human tendency is this: when people make wrong decision, they will vehemently argue and give the reasoning. Oh, I'm doing this because of this, because of this. Whatever I'm doing, it has a lot of reasoning. Good reasoning is there. So they project as if they had done a lot of thinking. It's not that they came to a rash conclusion. They give a lot of reasoning. So at least in case of Arjuna, he confessed that he's confused and not sure. He admitted his deficiencies, but there is a very good reason for that. He was dealing with Lord Sri Krishna himself, and there was no way that Arjuna could say, oh, he knew better than the Lord. So the scope was not there. In our real life, that kind of difference will not be like, where one person will totally surrender to another person. That does not happen in our day-to-day life. So that particular aspect where surrendering totally may not happen, but the thing that can happen is people tend to give their own reasoning, and the person who wants to go and give a corrective action can correct the things and say, hey, there is a problem with this kind of a reasoning. There is this. So there is a very good possibility, even though the person doesn't fully surrender or whatever, there's a very good possibility the person, if is a reasonable person, the person may listen to us. So this is what we have to aim for. So in case of Arjuna, of course, there was some jnana tirodhana was there, but not to the extent that he forgot that Krishna was the Lord. Because look at many addressings that Arjuna did. He called Krishna Hrishikesha, Mukunda, Madhusudana, so many names which reflect that Arjuna had a good knowledge. Even that time when the little bit Gnanatirodhana happened, still there are a lot of faculties. That's why Arjuna was called Uttama Adhikari. He was Uttama Adhikari. So Indravatara, he very well knew that Krishna was the Lord. So even so, the strange thing is the kind of statements Arjuna made. A lot of people may think that Arjuna made very smart remarks, very accurate remarks. In fact, many commentators wrote also like that only, that they are apparently smart remarks. But in reality, they were not even apparently smart. We'll go into that, how, what it is. But in real life also, people make such ridiculous arguments, and yet they think that they are making very, very wise remarks, very wise arguments, and very logical statements. They think that way. So, but if you go deeper, you would realize that they're not really logical, even. They're not wise remarks. For example, let us look at Arjuna's words. Like he says, when Krishna chastises him and says, like, no, how come you are having this kind of a timidity in your heart, and this is not appropriate for you? When Krishna tells all those words, so klaibyam masmagama partha naitatva ivapadyate kshudram hudaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. Krishna says that, hey, you better take part in the war, otherwise, like what you're doing is not right. So Arjuna tells, Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhye Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubihi Pratiyotsyami Pujarhau Arisudana. This is like fourth verse in second adhyaya. So there, it looks very natural, right? I mean, Arjuna is telling, how can I fight Bhishma and Drona, hit them with the arrows when they are fit for worship worthy? They are worship worthy. They are not fight worthy. They are not arrow worthy. I should throw flowers at them. I should worship them, not throw arrows at them. This is not so. I don't want to attack them with arrows. But look, Arjuna, even if he does not attack them with the arrows, he's all people on his side, starting from Abhimanyu to Drushtadumna, and so many, Bhimasena is there, like why Avatara. He is going to attack Bhishma and Drona and fight with them. So even if Arjuna refrains from shooting arrows at them, others are going to shoot arrows anyway. He's not going to stop. Hey, nobody should shoot arrows at Bhishma and Drona. He cannot say that. So just because he doesn't hit arrows at them, how will it prevent the arrows and going and hitting Bhishma and Drona? Because others are going to hit the arrows anyway. Others are going to do Astra Prayoga on Bhishma and Drona. So that's going to happen anyway. So Arjuna's refraining will not prevent completely. Okay, Arjuna won't be shooting the arrows at them, but others are going to shoot anyway. So Arjuna's words don't fully make sense. Okay, uh, just because he refrains from shooting the arrows at Bhishma and Drona, nobody will shoot the arrows is not going to happen. Others are going to shoot the arrows. So Arjuna's this argument is not really a smart argument at all. And then the next argument he gives also is, he says, Gurun ahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhuktum bhaiksham apiha loke hatvartha kamastu gurun ihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. So he says, by not killing them, they're great people. So it's better I just take some bhikshana, beg and take the food. That's better. But again, the same logical problem I'm talking about here. Just because he doesn't kill them, how can Arjuna make sure that somebody else is not going to kill them? Bhimsena can kill those gurus, Bhishma and Drona. Bhimsena can kill, or Drishadumna can. Drishadumna was born. There is Bhagavad boon is there. The yajna that Drupada performs to get a son who can kill Drona. So Drishadumna is born to kill Drona. So he's going to kill Drona anyway. So of course Arjuna doesn't know how it is going to happen, but Drishadumna is going to kill Drona and somebody else can kill Bhishma. So just because Arjuna does not kill Bhishma and Drona, how is Arjuna making sure that somebody else is not going to kill them? Somebody else can definitely kill them. So he is not preventing that. So, it's enough, it's okay. It's better off, I'm better off taking Bhiksha and living. Hey, wait a minute. If somebody else kills them, still you are losing them. So the argument of Arjuna that he's refraining from killing them is going to save them? No, there's no such guarantee at all. So even this argument doesn't make sense. And then Hatva Arthakaman. So Arthakama, the gurus are doing, Arthakama they are doing. That means they are also fighting and they want to have a good way of life by killing them. So the Evakara, Guru Niha Eva. What is Eva? Bhoga Neva. That Eva has to go with Bhoga. The same Bhogas are the enjoyments. They only Bhogan Eva Bhunjiya. Their bhogan, whatever bhogas they are supposed to enjoy, I'm going to enjoy by sitting in their places. I'm going to occupy their asanas. I'm going to enjoy their bhogas, whichever they were destined to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy. That's not acceptable to me. Wait a minute. If somebody else kills them, still you have to do that. You are going to enjoy those bhogas. You say, hey, I didn't kill them, so I'm not going to enjoy the bhogas because I didn't kill them. Are you going to say that? No. So even this logic doesn't make sense. So he has to enjoy the bhogas even if someone else kills them. So this argument also doesn't make any sense at all. And then he says, next sloka says, Nachaitat vidmaha kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadivano jayeyo yanev hatva na jijivishamaha te avastitaha pramukhe dhartarashtra. He says, his argument, we don't know who is going to win. We don't know. Of course, whether Arjuna fights or not, who is going to win, we don't know. That uncertainty of winning is there no matter what. Whether Arjuna fights or not, the uncertainty is there. That's different. And he's saying, I don't know what is better for me, whether we should lose the war or we should win the war. I don't know which is better for me. So this also is a wrong logic because it is as if Arjuna is the decision maker. Even if he fights, okay, Krishna is there, he's going to help and everything is fine. But he's talking as if instead of Krishna may taking up a decision, he is the one. I don't know which is better for me. Whether it should winning the war is better or losing the war is better. As if it is in his control. He can make a decision. Okay, I want to win the war. I want to lose the war. He can make a decision. No, it's the Lord who makes the decision. The Swatantra Bhava Chintana itself is wrong. So he is not the one who is going to make a decision. Who is going to win the war? So which is better for me? I don't know. Hey, it doesn't matter whether you know it or not. Irrespective of whether you know which is better for you, it's the Lord's decision, Bhagavan decision that's going to ultimately happen. So you don't, it's not even right for Arjuna to say, I don't know which is better for me. Hey, wait a minute. How does it matter whether you say this is better or that is better? You were saying that doesn't make a decision. It doesn't happen that way just because you say that. So by killing him whom we do not want to wish, like we do not wish to live, na jijivishayamaha, that means desirous of living. By killing whom, yan eva hatva, by killing whom we are not desirous of living, that kind of people are standing in front of us, Dhartarashtra. Wait a minute, that also argument doesn't make sense. By killing the sons of Dhritarashtra, that is Kauravas, we are not going to wish to live. So by killing Kauravas, we will not have the desire to live. That's what Arjuna is saying, but doesn't make sense because they have vowed to kill Dhritarashtra's son. So his attachment is only for Bhishma Drona. Why is he saying that Dhartarashtra's, that is sons of Dhritarashtra, Kauravas are standing in front of us, by killing whom we do not wish, desire to live upon, continue our lives? That is also not true. So even that is an illogical statement. So, and then here he says, at least is this a wise remark? He says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha pruchhami tva dharma samudha chetaha yat shreyaha syat nishchitam bruhi tat me sishyaha te aham shati mam tvam prapannam. Of course, this at least is a wise thing. At least he is accepting. A lot of people, they say, a lot of times the problem is people do not know that they do not know. That's a bigger problem. So not knowing is a problem, but not knowing that we do not know is much bigger problem. So that at least Arjuna does not have that problem. He says, I am hit by the Karpanya dosha. This Karpanya dosha is, what is Karpanya dosha? It's like, Karpanya dosha is excessive karuna. Krupa, from that is Karpanya. So the Krupa is good, like Karuna, Krupa, Karuna Swabhava is good, but inappropriate, where Krupa should not be shown, they're showing the Krupa. Where Karuna should not be shown, showing Karuna there, that's not right. In a battle, you standing in the war, fighting against enemies, they are evil people, you are supposed to kill them. Oh, no, killing is bad. No, I don't want to kill. Doesn't work, because that is what is Karpanya dosha. That is excessive Krupa in a wrong place. That thing is not right. So Arjuna is accepting that it is Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha, because I am overcome with this kind of a deficiency of thinking. What is the definition of thinking? Applying or developing a krupa or karunya or compassion excessively towards something where it should not even be there. That kind of a dosha, flaw I am having, and that has stunted my thinking process. So that's why I'm asking the question, Pruchhami tva dharma sammudha chetaha. Dharma sammudha. Mudha is moha. Having the moha is mudha. We use the word mudha, fool. Or the reason, the actual word, the mudha, comes from one who is affected by moha is a mudha. Moha is what? Not knowing the appropriateness. This is what is to be done. This is what is not to be done. This jnana is lost. That person is, that's why you say, like, fool, or like that kind of a meaning is given to this word mudha, but actually the word comes from afflicted by moha, is a mudha. So I am dharma sammudha chetaha, samyak mudaha. The dharma, what is dharma, what is not dharma, that jnana I have lost. Because of that I am having a moha, and that moha is so strong. That's why some moha, that's why sammudha. Some moha I am having, so I have become a sammudha. So that chetaha, the mind, my mind is affected so badly, and it is having that delusion or moha, that I am not able to decide which is right dharma. So yat sheyah syat nishchitam bruhi tat me. I do not know what is good for me. So to that extent, Arjuna, this probably is the wisest expression that Arjuna has made in his entire talk. But all other things are quite illogical. This is the only logical thing that Arjuna is saying. So he says, I do not know what is good for me. So yat shreyaha syat nishchitam bruhi tat me. You tell me whatever is the best for me, what is appropriate for me, you tell me that. So this is what he's saying. And then sishyaha te aham shadhi. Shadhi means educate me, teach me, tell me, instruct me. Mam, tvam prapannam. I surrender to you completely. So please tell me, I am your sishya. Te aham sishyaha. I am your disciple. I just surrender to you. I am your student, your disciple. Tell me what to do. I'll just do that. So at this point, Krishna said, "Don't ask any questions, fight." But that's not so. Krishna is going to answer every single point that Arjuna raises, and he answers them and goes one by one. So this is the word Arjuna says, and then in the next one also he says, "Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yat shokam uchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumau on earth asapatnam ruddham rajyam suranam apicha adhipatyam." So he says, even if I am given the entire three words, actually already like it's like kind of a pun is there. Arjuna is Indra Avatara. Indra is the lord of all these three words: Bhuloka, Purloka, Swarloka. So Swarga, three lokas. So he says, even Suraloka comes, the Swarga, heaven, Adhipatya comes to me. I still do not want to obtain this kind of a victory, fighting my own people. I don't want. So nahi prapasyami mama apanudyat yat shokam. So whatever is making me get into this kind of a depressed mode, how depressing means yat shoshanam indriyanam shoshanam. All my indriyas are getting dried up. Shoshana means is not, shoshana is drying up. Uchosana is completely getting dried up. So that much shoka, it is what you call depression. We call it depression. So Arjuna got into a depression mode. So these words are depression words. That means, in one way, people can draw the conclusion that they were not, a person who is highly depressed cannot talk wise words. So not even apparently wise. They are not wise at all. Apparently also they are not wise. They are really, really something against the wise man's words. So that's what Arjuna was telling. And he says, Nahi prapasyami. Mama apanudyat means that can take away this shoka, that can remove this shoka, that is a solution, that is an antidote for this depressed mood. I do not know. So that means, look, a mental depression is there. We need a psychologist. So the psychiatrist. So Krishna is going to act like psychiatrist. So Arjuna is saying, I am going through this depression mood. So I don't know what is right for me. I am in a big bad situation. So in this situation, I do not even want the heaven. What to speak of earthly control? This control on earth, a small piece of land, I don't care. I don't want it. So this is the situation, the mental situation Arjuna is in. and he is a great warrior. He's not of the type who is timid, like we talked about all that in QA sessions and other things in the last classes. So it's not that Arjuna is a timid or person or a coward or anything like that. He's a great warrior. He is not afraid of any battles, but he was overcome with this excessive compassion. Only at that moment, actually, Virata Yuddha he fought. At that time, he didn't have. But here, the thought process where he was imagining the situation when they all are not going to be there, they all going to be get killed in the battlefield, in the war, because Krishna is standing on their side. So Arjuna is very hopeful that they're going to have the victory because of Lord Sri Krishna. So that thought made him very sad. Oh, they are not going to be around anymore. That's why he's uttering all these words, speaking all these words. So what should we learn from Arjuna's words? When we are in a wrong thinking process, we are going to justify our actions by giving our own logic, which will be actually a twisted logic. They're not even appropriately logical statements. We should not get into that situation ourselves, and if someone else close to us gets into that situation, we should be in a position to tell them where things are wrong, how they are wrong, and what they should do, how they should do, guidance, proper guidance. So we should be in a position that we can guide ourselves. We should be in a position that we can guide someone else also. This is what we should learn from Arjuna's words. And then as we go ahead, no, further, we will see how Lord Krishna's words are going to act on Arjuna and how they are going to have effect, a tremendous effect on Arjuna. That we are going to talk in the next classes. So I'm going to pass here so that give some kind of pause or break. People have any questions, I can answer those questions, and then if no questions are there, maybe we can talk a little more. So I no, temporarily stop here to allow questions. So any questions are there, please feel free to ask. Hare Srinivasa, Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.